High school boys basketball on the NFHS network presented by the GI Tech School Broadcast Program. Tonight, the Cadillac Vikings cruise an hour south down to challenge the Mount Pleasant Oilers. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hardwood. Calvin Keys here, accompanied by former middle school basketball sensation Jack Irvin.
Thank you, Calvin. Calvin, I'm really excited to see this game. You know, it's a big test for Mount Pleasant. They've lost 4 key players, due to some injuries, and I'm going to talk about those. Deontay Browns has been out with a finger injury, and Wyatt Urban has been out with a quad injury. And Omar Tutin and Drew Barbie are out for an unconfirmed illness. So really, it's next man up mentality for these Oilers to see how they do versus a good Cadillac team.
Absolutely, Jack. Mount Pleasant behind the 8 ball in terms of size, matching up against the towering Vikings already. But they'll face another obstacle tonight with 4 guys out of the lineup, as you said. Just about set for tip here. It'll be the towering Cole Genema to face off against Logan Brodachuk, the sophomore. He's not short either, Jack.
Calvin, this team is very, very big. They have everyone on Cadillac is either 6 foot or more, and they have another kid that's 6'9", and another player that's 6'7". That is just mind-boggling.
Genema tipping this one back onto Baker. Cadillac will start things off tonight. Pareda in coverage of Tegan Baker. Here's Baker, pulls up, feeds down low to McGowan. Huge body, he'll kick it back out. That's Howell from 3, too short. Back out for Montag. Look for Jaden Montag to be the main ball handler for this Vikings group. Coach Ryan Benzenberg loves to have the ball in his hands. Pump fake from Baker. Hands off for Genema. Don't be deceived. The big guy has quite a shot, and he shows that right there to get us started. First basket of the night goes to the Vikings. Brodachuk taking in, turns the corner, and stuffed by the strong right hand of Genema. Fast break the other way. Fed down low. Huge block by Davis. Great job to backtrack and deny Howell underneath the rim.
Wow, what a great play by both defenses. They got 2 blocks in a row. 21, Cole Genema had that big block, and Corey Davis just got a big block for the Oilers.
Montag looking to inbound. Resets at the top of the key. Open 3-point look for Howell. He misses. Rebound McGowan. Can't put it in. Oilers Pareda carrying on the basketball. Finds Nar. Thomas Nar. Stuck underneath the rim. And he's going to get booked for a travel there. Well, as we discussed the first time down the floor, Cole Genema, for somebody who is 6'9", phenomenal handles and quite a jumper. One of the reasons for that, as his coach Ryan Benzenberg said this week when I was talking to him, he was a guard when he was younger and hit quite a growth spurt, so still has those skills retained and now more versatile with that towering size.
It really seems like he can play guard and forward, which is a great tool to have in basketball.
Not often you can see your biggest guy on the floor take it on the fast break as Pareda takes it on the fast break here. Spinning that one in, ties it up at 2 apiece.
That's a great steal by Drew Pareda to get it for an easy bucket.
Can the Vikings answer? Baker for Howell. Charlie Howell, a guy that Coach Benzenberg said is really starting to assert himself offensively, seems to settle in each and every game as the season moves on. The sophomore looking to make an impact tonight on the varsity squad. Finding Genema, pressured by Davis. No shot clock in high school basketball, so no rush. And McGowan all alone after the Oilers missed the swipe at it.
That was a nice little feed to Kyron McGowan for an easy bucket.
Here's Nar dribbling, feeding to Pareda. Drew Pareda, jab step. Finds Davis on the far side. Brodachuk, he'll drive the hoop. Nice pump fake.
Wow.
Sold that one hook, line, and sinker.
What a great move by Logan Brodachuk. Driving in, putting a pump fake up, gets the man in the air, and gets an easy bucket. Look for Brodachuk to log a lot of minutes tonight. One of the only guys that can keep pace
with this very tall lineup for Cadillac. Great play by Nahr in the paint. Steals it back. Pareda bringing along, cutting up the middle. Kicks out for Gottlieb. Corner three. Gottlieb gets it to go.
Great assist by Drew Pareda. Sees Ryan Gottlieb out in the corner and gets a nice, easy three for Gottlieb.
7-4, Mount Pleasant with the advantage. 4.5 to go in the first quarter. Thank you for joining us on the NFHS Network. Calvin Keys, Jack Irvin. Should be a good one. Montag stops up in the paint. Can't go anywhere. Bobbled off the hand of Genema, who nice play to keep it alive. Down for, that was Howell, missing the layup. Pareda finding it. Up for Davis. Corey Davis, the first team running back in the Saginaw Valley, can't find a way to the hoop there. Down for Genema. Spinning off Davis. Knocks him over. No call. And sinks the 15-footer.
Looks like Corey Davis is trying to draw a foul there and try, maybe a charging foul, but refs didn't call it. And
Nahr, he'll try from three. Off the front rim. Don't be deceived by his height either. He really likes to pull if he gets open looks. Tegan Baker. Howell. Taking his time. Finds McGowan again. Connor McGowan. I don't want to speculate here. I imagine he's an offensive lineman for their football team in the fall.
He probably is. And that was a great move by Charlie House, seeing Connor McGowan and just getting an easy budget and a great assist.
And you know what's so interesting? Mount Pleasant has to match up their biggest guy on the floor, Logan Borodachuk, against Cole Genema, so it leaves McGowan against the much smaller Thomas Nahr, so he's able to dominate down low. Interesting matchup and something that's definitely going to hinder Mount Pleasant. As you can see here, they're going 5 out, capitalizing on drives to the hoop. McGowan getting a little handsy there with Gottlieb, shoving him backwards. That'll be a foul on the floor against number 40.
And I was hearing Coach Shell on one of the breaks. He was saying, hey, move side to side. Don't go in. Just move side to side, get on offense.
And here's Brown and Gurdon. Aiden Gurdon, number 3 on the court. Somebody that Coach Benzenberg says is their 6th man and the emotional leader of this team. He's a senior. Tough to come off the bench as Gottlieb got elbowed in the face again. Shaken up. Didn't look intentional.
And more about Aiden Gruen. He was a quarterback for Cadillac Vikings as they had a very good season this year. And even last year they went to state finals and ended up losing. But he's he has that great leadership in him.
Gottlieb, not someone that's going to shy away after taking some tough hits, as Polk misses the three-pointer from the coffin corner. Montag, 6'3" junior, finds Genema from deep.
That big man,
Genema from downtown.
The big man ain't afraid to take the three.
Extremely versatile, and his coach knows that he will do the right thing in the right moments. That's why he gets so much of the basketball. That trust is really built there between Coach Benzenberg and Cole Genema, who I'm told is also a phenomenal baseball player. Poor turnover for Mount Pleasant. Gurdon trapped and reach in. Should be against Polk.
That almost was a travel by Gurdon.
Tough for a senior like Gurdon to be a guy who comes off the bench, but his coach said he was already a leader on this team. He bought into that role of coming off the bench. It's something that the other players on the team respect, and because of that, he's taken his leadership to a whole nother level.
Great team player.
Eli Main, the freshman, rattles out. Main driving into the paint. Wide open is David Brown.
Great
Junior
move.
Converts.
That's a great heads-up play, seeing an easy open man for Cadillac, just getting an easy bucket.
30-second timeout as the Cadillac Vikings go on a bit of a run.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start? Here, in the classroom. On the diamond.
In the pool. on the field.
Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Be great.
Vikings up 13-7. Had a little bit of momentum, so Mount Pleasant's coach Dan Schell calls a timeout to try to give his team a chance to regroup as this one's inbounded into Pareda. Mount Pleasant Oilers, a little bit of a larger school. Cadillac playing a little bit of the underdog in this one. Only on paper, though, as they have a very talented lineup. Vikings school has an enrollment of 800. Oilers around 1,100 as Gallagher will try another look. That's his second three-pointer of the night. Montag, he can hit the three ball as well. We'll see if he gets a chance to answer. Bobbled here by Maine. Finding it on the floor is the junior, Aiden Klein, driving in, stripped of the basketball. And I believe drew the foul.
That's a great play by Aiden Klein. Gets a steal and just draws a foul and gets a chance to shoot two at the line.
And you talk about the next man up mentality. Klein, not normally a guy that logs a ton of playing time, but he's seizing his opportunity here with a bunch of guys out of the lineup, as we mentioned in the open, especially Wyatt Irvin, Owen Watuzik, a couple of the guys that really took away from his playing time a bunch. Stepping in and converting on his second free throw there. Mount Pleasant trailing 12-13. Under a minute to go here in the first quarter. Here's Maine getting it up to David Brown. Montague from deep, off the mark. Good rebound there by Maine, the freshman. Coach Benzenberg said it was a no-brainer to have him on this varsity team. That's how confident he is in his skills. Maine, Brown, now Montag. Took the fall off to work on his basketball game as Gurdon a mid-range jumper.
Looks like Gurdon was asking
Not even close to the rim.
Looks like Gurdon was asking for a foul, but they didn't give it to him.
Pareda taking it in. Oh, what a move.
A little up and under.
Gets it to go. Polk intercepting. Great effort by him. Cadillac's going to keep.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same.
Genema, he stays hot.
That's another three by Genema. That's his second of the game. Oh, and it almost goes in.
The Vikings closing out this first quarter on a high note. Genema regaining the lead for Cadillac. Back with more basketball action in a moment.
All right, this is Adam. Take two. Mark?
I guess.
I go like this.
The best part about playing football in Texas has to be the reaction from the community.
I want to encourage others to play volleyball or choir because you get to experience new things and do stuff that you've never done before. My reason why is passion.
My reason why is pride.
Back at Mount Pleasant High School, Cadillac, a strong start, evenly matched so far in this one, just as we expected. Vikings, mentioned they're playing the role of a bit of an underdog going into this one. Smaller enrollment at their school by about 300 students, but they come in with a 6-1 record. Mount Pleasant's 3-1. As for Cadillac, last Friday came out with a huge victory on the road against Traverse City Central, one of their Big North rivals.
Yeah, and Traverse City Central, every time it's a Traverse City Central school, it's going to be a good team. Same with Traverse City West. You know, they're very, very good at a lot of sports. And we got to actually call one of their volleyball games this year in the regional finals. And, you know, Traverse City Central has a, very good athletic program, has a lot of tradition. You know, they have a great football program. And, Josh Burnham, who early enrolled at Notre Dame, used to be a basketball player there, but he's now at Notre Dame. So they, just got great tradition at the Traverse City schools.
Back to play here to start off the second quarter. Genema looking to continue his strong performance. not able to convert there down low. Nar, a huge rebound, speeding ahead, Drew Pareda. Pareda looking to go back out to Gottlieb, but he traveled.
And really what's been the Achilles heels for Mount Pleasant is they're not getting a lot of rebounds, which there's a good point. You know, Cadillac has a ton of size, but if I was Coach Shell, I really gotta preach those guys. You gotta make life tough in the paint. You gotta box out as much as you can.
Mount Pleasant knew it was going to be an uphill battle in this game, but even against smaller opponents like Lapeer, they've struggled. One thing they are doing is telegraphing these passes. As Perodachuk finds Pareda, who can't find a way for that ball to get into the hoop.
And really what Cadillac
foul on the floor against Cadillac.
And really what Cadillac's been doing too much of. They've been turning the ball over way too much, which has been leading to points for the Oilers. And that's really the reason why that they were down, but now they're up by 2. But if I was Coach
Gottlieb. Pass too low for Davis. Cadillac will take it back. The coaching matchup in this one, it's Ryan Benzenberg for the Cadillac Vikings in his 10th season with the program, eighth season as varsity head coach. On the other side of things, it's Dan Schell, has lived in Mount Pleasant his whole life. Both of these guys really basketball lifers, both so insightful about the game and great to talk with about the sport. Genema the 2.
Nice 15-footer floater by Genema.
The Vikings extend their advantage to 4 points. Davis getting it to Pareda. Back for Gottlieb. Cadillac starting to figure out who they need to guard. The 2 shooters, Pareda and Ryan Gottlieb. This one, bounced down low for Borodachuk. That's off his hands. Genema, back up. Steps back. Gets it to Riley Wade. Hands off to Genema again. Vikings biding their time. Doesn't like the look. Finds Howell. On to Baker. At the elbow.
Mount Pleasant with their man defense. They're just playing them tough in the paint. And looks like that might be a charging foul. Yes, that's a charging foul. Great move by Pareda.
Pareda draws the charge. Not shying away from Tegan Baker. Pareda, we've seen he likes to go for those open three-point looks. Hasn't really converted so far tonight, but he is the guy that typically bringing the ball up the court for Mount Pleasant and a key contributor to this team. Here's a chance for him. Pareda, that one rolls off the rim and out. Found by Getz. The freshman, Gavin Getz, just came into the basketball game and already turned it over. Aiden Klein draws a foul on the floor. Baker having a conversation with the official. Took some exception to something. Wanted to get a brief explanation there.
Yeah, another turnover by Cal. They can't have that. They just got to have better communication. They've really been shooting themselves in the foot with those turnovers.
And you know, talent-wise, as you said, Cadillac, very talented, but a little bit lackadaisical in their defensive coverage as Klein able to make an easy field goal. Here's Baker moving around the perimeter. Nowhere to go. Kicks out for Getz. That one just squeaks out. Nar ahead for Davis. Borodachuk moves quickly to Pareda. Now he'll fire. Falling down, knocking it down, Drew Pareda.
From downtown.
Oilers lead 19-18. Genema nearly stripped, holds on to it. Baker moving in. Back out for Genema behind the back. Davis has been sticking on Genema in this game like a piece of gum sticks to the bottom of your shoe. Really not giving him much room to operate, but Genema gets a pick. Nearly made Davis pay. And just a sloppy pass from Borodachuk. Klein wasn't ready for it. That's going to turn it over. You look at the bench, a little bit shorter than usual for Mount Pleasant. Just a couple of guys over there. Gottlieb and Polk are going to check in here.
this is when conditioning really pays off for Mount Pleasant. They have, 4 of their key players out, so conditioning is really have to play a factor, and they cannot get into foul trouble if you're Mount Pleasant.
Moved in. Genema guarded tightly by Borodachuk. To the side to Montag, weaving his way in. For Brown. Baker pulling up his Riley Wade. Misses it. Nard trapped in the corner, trying to find a way out.
Jump ball.
He'll get a whistle and a jump ball. Falling hard to the floor was Brown, awkwardly. Gurdon's going to come in to replace Wade. Possession arrow points to Cadillac. They'll keep it. 4 minutes left in this first half. Oh, out for Gurdon. Nearly picked off. Genema, nice move. Step back jumper. Just manages to fall for him. What an individual effort by Cole Genema. Polk, can he find some magic of his own? A bad miss.
Looks like Coach Shell's preaching to Polk
Genema back again.
To move
Polk
the ball better.
looking to make up for his mistake. Strips it. Soaring in. Misses the layup. A lot of raw energy from Polk, but has to have a little bit more composure here. Brown turning the corner on Polk. He's fouled. Vikings undefeated in conference play in the Big North so far this season, atop the standings. A big reason for that is because of the depth they possess. You see all 10 of their guys playing on the court, really rotating in, and that's what Coach Benzenberg feels gives his team an edge. Their role players always are ready to step up and make a big play when needed, and here's one. Clanking it off the iron. Finding it himself was Howell. Skied back out for Montag. 3 to go in this first half. Vikings 20, Oilers 19. Here from center court at Mount Pleasant High School. David Brown. Slung over for Montag. Back to Brown. Perimeter movement here. Vikings taking their sweet time. Gurdon. Oh, he's tripped up. Awkward fall. Helped up by Klein. Good show of sportsmanship there. Oilers will take this one.
And going back to Cadillac, we had a chance to talk with Coach Benzenberg, and he really said, in the Big North, it's more of a defensive game by both teams because everybody knows what they're going to go up against. So usually it's a 50, maybe 60 points they're scoring. So Cadillac's really just known for their defense.
A lot of games that go right down to the wire. Vikings, a lot of endurance, conditioning, and emphasis in their practices. Want to be able to hang around for as long as possible, especially with a little bit more of a skilled team in Mount Pleasant. Pareda finds his own board. Great effort here, staying with it, putting it in, but he got called for his third travel of the night. Pareda, very frustrated.
Just tough. It's really tough right there when you got two guys just playing you hard and get traveled.
Pareda, not always known as the most athletic guy, but he knows the game so well. His basketball IQ off the charts, plays to his strengths, and he's got a lot of heart out there. Brown moving in, kicking out to the corner for Gurdon, who capitalizes on the opportunity.
That's a big three by Aiden Gurdon to get this to a 4-point lead for the Vikings.
Throws the football on the gridiron come fall, but come winter, he's throwing the ball into the basketball hoop from outside the perimeter. Pareda. Again, Davis.
Great assist by Drew Pareda. Seeing Corey Davis, cuts in backdoor and gives it right to Corey Davis for an easy bucket.
The basketball IQ and vision on full display for Pareda with that dish. Montag awaiting options. He's going to try to do it himself. Tangled up with Gottlieb, spinning off, and he'll go to the line to shoot 2. 1 minute to go here in this first half. It's been about what we've expected, around 20 points for each team, back and forth. Mount Pleasant starting with the 5-out look and generating most of their chances from driving to the hoop. Not really looking to win that down-low battle. You wonder maybe, don't know if McGowan in foul trouble or if he took a little bit of a knock, but hasn't been in the game for quite a while. Coach Benzenberg looking to adapt potentially here. Don't know what he saw, but uncharacteristic to see McGowan out of the game for this long of a stretch. Montag knocks down the free throw. 1 minute. Can Mount Pleasant try to cut this 4-point deficit? Davis out for Gottlieb. Showing how it's done. All alone down low is Howell. Stuffed by Logan Borodachuk. I think he got a piece of that one. It's Gottlieb again. Moving into Pareda. Just over 30 to shoot. Drew Pareda. Layup. Mount Pleasant putting together a run of their own. They take the lead by 1.
Wow, 4 points in a matter of a couple of seconds. Big swing of momentum for the Oilers.
Howell fed down low. Eli May. Oilers couldn't hold the lead for long. They've got 15 seconds. Pareda needs to hurry. Doesn't look like he's aware of the clock right now. Dribbling it under 10. Gottlieb. 5. Looking to create an opening. Coming in. Nar tried to hand off for Davis as Borodachuk sailed one. Probably wouldn't have counted anyways. But as things are going to stand at the half, Cadillac Vikings leading over the home team, the Mount Pleasant Oilers, by a point, 27-26. It's been a good one, and I hope you'll stick around for the second half of action as this one continues after the break.
So, I got my start in officiating when a friend told me I should try it. At first, I just did basketball, and I got hooked. Before long, I added baseball, softball, football, and volleyball. I really enjoy giving back to the game, working with kids, and working with my local association to recruit and train new officials. I would like to say to anybody that officiating is a great way to help kids and stay connected to the game. We always need new officials. There's help wanted, just listen.
Today I'm going to tell you about sportsmanship because it's important. Treat your opponents the way you would want to be treated. My mom says that. Listen to the referees. It's their job. Be nice to their team and our team. Cheer them on. Always play fair. It's the right thing to do. It's sportsmanship. It's not that hard.
As the voice of Michigan student athletes, the Student Advisory Council's role
is to convey the message of how high school sports are supposed to be played.
We are responsible for helping the MHSAA maintain a positive and healthy atmosphere
so that interscholastic athletes may thrive.
We believe athletes should be competitive,
sportsmanlike, and excel academically.
We believe students in the stands should have fun,
but not take the focus away from the game.
We believe coaches should act as teachers,
helping student athletes develop while still keeping high school sports in perspective.
We believe that parents should always be positive role models
and be supportive of their child's decision.
We believe officials commit their own time to high school sports,
and respect should always be shown and given to them.
The most important goal for student athletes is to enjoy high school sports
while keeping a high level of respect between all those involved in the games.
Enjoy the game.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start?
Here, in the classroom.
On the diamond.
In the pool.
On the field.
Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Yeah! Be great.
Participate.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 300,000 participants here in Michigan who take part in high school sports.
This is Adam, take 2. Mark?
I guess.
I go like this.
The best part about playing football in Texas has to be the reaction from the community.
I want to encourage others to play volleyball or choir because you get to experience new things and do stuff that you've never done before. My reason why is passion.
My reason why is pride.
My dad and my grandfather are officials. I've grown up around officials and seeing how much they enjoy being part of the games. As a student athlete, I've always appreciated the people out there who are willing to give back to the kids. The Legacy program lets me officiate while I'm still in high school, working younger kids' games. Officiating gives me a better understanding of the game. I get to make some pretty good money for a high school kid, and I even get to spend some quality time with my dad. There's help wanted. Just whistle.
There's just one place where students are students first, and athletics are played with purpose and perspective. That place is your local high school. High school sports offer more than the joy of competition. Studies show that student athletes are also likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in other areas of their lives, including academics. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education.
You're up. There's an old saying, you can never have too many officials. The age of the average official is 52 and getting older all the time. We're constantly recruiting new people, younger people to join us. After you register with the MHSAA, look on the website to find an officials association near you. They'll put you in a position to succeed as an official. We all learned a lot from high school sports, and officiating is a great way to give back to the game. There's help wanted. Just whistle.
Touchdown, Champions.
Because every athlete deserves to be treated like a pro. Henry Ford Sports Medicine.
So, I got my start in officiating when a friend told me I should try it. At first I just did basketball, and I got hooked. Before long, I added baseball, softball, football, and volleyball. I really enjoy giving back to the game, working with kids, and working with my local association to recruit and train new officials. I would like to say to anybody that officiating is a great way to help kids and stay connected to the game. We always need new officials. There's help wanted, just listen.
Today I'm going to tell you about sportsmanship because it's important. Treat your opponents the way you would want to be treated. My mom says that. Listen to the referees. It's their job. Be nice to their team and our team. Cheer them on. Always play fair. It's the right thing to do. It's sportsmanship. It's not that hard.
As the voice of Michigan student athletes, the Student Advisory Council's role
is to convey the message of how high school sports are supposed to be played.
We are responsible for helping the MHSAA maintain a positive and healthy atmosphere
so the interscholastic athletes may thrive.
We believe athletes should be competitive,
sportsmanlike, and excel academically.
We believe students in the stands should have fun,
but not take the focus away from the game.
We believe coaches should act as teachers,
helping student athletes develop while still keeping high school sports in perspective.
We believe that parents should always be positive role models
and be supportive of their child's decision.
We believe officials commit their own time to high school sports,
and respect should always be shown and given to them.
The most important goal for student athletes is to enjoy high school sports
while keeping a high level of respect between all those involved in the games.
Enjoy the game.
What rhymes with great?
Back at courtside for this boys hoops matchup. Cadillac out Mount Pleasant. Vikings boast a 27-26 lead going into this second half. Jack, what were some of the notable things that you saw in that first half of play? It was tight, just as we expected.
Yeah, it's been a really good game. You know, both two good teams, two very well-coached teams going at it. And really, the problem for Cadillac is they've had way too many turnovers. They need to settle it down, get good pass selections, and stop turning the ball over because it's been leading to easy buckets for Mount Pleasant. And for Mount Pleasant, their problems are they need to be a lot more assignment sound on defense. They keep giving up, easy looks or having like some type of defensive bust. And they also need to be tougher in the paint and make life tough for the big men for Cadillac. And yeah, fight for the rebounds and do your best. You just gotta try to control the paint.
Another thing that caught my eye with this Mount Pleasant team, there was 3 or 4 occasions where they passed it to a player who just was not expecting it at all. Need to be on the same page, get that figured out, because back here when they're inbounding it and they're not on the same page, that's a poor turnover, and it just sets you up for failure when you're coughing it up that easily.
You're right. Yeah, any better miscommunication by Mount Pleasant.
Bright spot for Mount Pleasant, they're shooting. Gottliber already in the double digits going into this second period of play. And for Pareda, he was able to get one late. Cadillac, it hasn't been the same story. They've been pretty good around the rim getting open looks. But from the perimeter, pretty much the only guy that's been able to knock down their shots is Cole Genema.
Yeah, you're right. And Cole Genema's done already 2 3-pointers. And they got a lot of points in the paint, which is kind of expected with a smaller, not as tall team for Mount Pleasant.
Just about ready to get the third quarter kicked off. Davis, right in front of us, will play the ball in. This Mount Pleasant team under the tutelage of their head coach, Dan Schell. Grew up in Mount Pleasant, 3-sport athlete here at Mount Pleasant High School has got Lieber shielding and banking it off the glass through the hoop.
And we now have a lead change, and Mount Pleasant takes control, which is a 1-point lead.
5th or 6th lead change we've seen in this game after Cadillac led for most of the game early. Howell finding Genema, student section on their feet. Baker pulling up Genema off the back rim. Came off of Nar. Vikings stay with it. Student section didn't agree with the call, but they're not the one in charge.
And if I was Loden Broachuk, when you get a rebound, you gotta try to use 2 hands so you can get good possession. So you're gonna have tough rebounds versus this Cadillac Vikings.
Genema guarded by Davis. Thought he was gonna be able to convert. Wasn't able to. Pareda from 3. Misses. Brodachuk. Board, but rolls out. Second time's the charm.
Great rebound by Loden Broachuk, and even a stronger finish for a 2-pointer.
We talk about Brodachuk, some of those little things like rebounding the ball with 2 hands. We forget he's a sophomore. Montague, finger roll, bounces out. McGowan stuff. Brodachuk still settling in as a sophomore. We forget with his size and his athleticism, but he's still learning the game at the varsity level. Davis taking it in. moving through traffic.
Great drive in by Corey Davis. Puts up a nice little floater and just contested shot that goes in.
First minute and a half has belonged to Mount Pleasant. 6-point run for them. They lead by 5, 32-27. Montag leaves there for Charlie Howell. For Baker. Player that Coach Benzenberg says is extremely underrated. As Mount Pleasant's D'ing up right now. Tight defense. Can Genema penetrate? Doesn't finish. Bowled over Nar. Didn't get the call. Gottlieb in the corner. Quickly moves to Pareda. Initially wanted to go to the far side to Borodachuk. Now they will. Foul on the floor against Cadillac. That's against Cole Genema. Initially thought it might be a travel as Borodachuk drove the hoop.
I thought it was too almost, but Calvin, I think Coach Shell really wants his offense to thrive off long-range shots because, they don't have the size really to drive in and get hard contested buckets. So I think that was kind of a plan of his to get the guys, his sharpshooters, some three-point opportunities.
Certainly looks like the game plan so far. I thoroughly agree with you, Jack. Baker. Gurdon taking it in. Hit the underside of the hoop. Pareda. Big Logan Borodachuk. Davis thought about shooting. Didn't. Tries from in close. Didn't get the right angle on that one. Dan Schell, Central Michigan University grad, urging his team on. He was a dual sport athlete as a Chippewa. Starred in basketball and baseball. Teaches his team a lot about heart. They're scrappy, and they love to play tight defense. Getting the crowd into it here at Mount Pleasant High School. 4:45 to go in the third quarter. Mount Pleasant up 32-27 here on the NFHS Network. Genema! And one.
Well, that is big for Cadillac. They really need a point. It's been about 3 or 4 minutes since they've scored and finally got a bucket. And that really ends their drought and gets some momentum back into the Vikings.
Opportunity to make it a 3-point play for Cole Genema. Excellent foul shot shooter. No different there. Makes it a 2-point game. Pareda, number 30. His idol is Stephen Curry. That's why he wears that number. You can tell he models his game after him. Gottlieb with a hand in his face. Davis, the board. Much needed rebound. Borodachuk, not necessarily the guy you want taking that shot. Montag, working in. Back for Genema. He'll move in. He can't finish either. Long pass by Nar. Gottlieb wasn't ready for it, but eventually corralled it. Spin move. Pareda back out off the face of Nar. He's a bit shaken up. Borodachuk finding it. Klein waiting to check into the game. Polk will join him. Davis up the left side, slashing to the rim.
Great play by Corey Davis. It's a nice contested shot for 2.
Don't be surprised if you see Davis playing college football next season. Montag, fadeaway. Man, he is having an off night. Can't seem to get any bounces to go his way right now is Jaden Montag. Davis, wide open path to the hoop. That will trickle in.
And
timeout called by Cadillac. Ryan Benzenberg heated. That's his team on their heels right now.
That was that last play. That was way too easy. There must have been some type of miscommunication because Corey Davis just drove right in for an easy bucket.
A chance to get things figured out as we'll step aside.
You're up. There's an old saying, you can never have too many officials. The age of the average official is 52 and getting older all the time. We're constantly recruiting new people, younger people to join us. After you register with the MHSAA, look on the website to find an officials association near you. They'll put you in a position to succeed as an official. We all learned a lot from high school sports, and officiating is a great way to give back to the game. There's help wanted. Just whistle.
Touchdown, Falcons.
Coaches conversing with their teams here as the Mount Pleasant Oilers lead 36-30 with 3:11 to go in the third quarter. Coach Dan Schell really had a successful tenure over his time with the program, which started all the way back in 2000. Joined the coaching group here at Mount Pleasant right out of his graduation from Central Michigan. At the time, the head varsity coach for the Oilers was Jack Carby, ex-collegiate bench boss. Schell says Carby really groomed him as a successor and that the assistant freshman coaching job was the first stair step to being the varsity coach. Took over a few years later for Coach Zach Taylor, who stepped aside to become the JV head coach. So Schell says that he really hasn't necessarily had to build anything, more just sustain the already successful legacy that Coach Taylor and Coach Carby built. Back out here, Brown. Bit too weak of a shot there. Pareda ahead for Aiden Klein. Perimeter movement for the Oilers. Polk floating over one. Not the greatest shot selection you'll ever see.
Yeah, you know, if you're Stuart Polk, you can't just drive in and expect to shoot. You got to try to control yourself and did a nice look at the basket.
Brown draws the reach in, the junior guard. No freshmen on this Mount Pleasant Oiler team. There's two on the Cadillac Vikings. Gavin Getz and Eli Main. Main in the game right now. Two guys that were really just shoo-ins in Coach Benzenberg's mind to make this group. Don't necessarily carry the weight of the minutes here with Cadillac, but it's certainly a great opportunity for them moving forward. And talking to Coach Benzenberg for the Vikings, he's very excited. Tons of underclassmen and freshmen in his program, whether it's the two freshmen on the varsity team or the JV and freshman team even.
Yeah,
huge crop of youngsters.
Yeah, I'll be really excited too. You know, he said that the future is bright. It's very interesting to see these freshmen and sophomores that are coming up for the Vikings.
Brown, bodied hard by Polk, paying the price to try to get to the hoop. He'll go to the free throw line. 2:13 to go. Polk's third foul of the game. He's going to have to be careful. Can't afford to have anyone foul out tonight if you're Mount Pleasant because of the short bench that we've talked about a couple of times. Deontay Brown and Wyatt Irvin out to injury, and Owen Watuzik and the new addition for this year, Drew Barbie, out with an unconfirmed illness. Brown's going to go 2 for 2 from the strike. Cuts the deficit to 5 for Cadillac. And you know, Drew Barbie, I was really excited to get the chance to watch him tonight. He just moved up to Mount Pleasant High School, and the reason being his head coach, Tony Barbie, hired for the head coaching job at Central Michigan University with their men's basketball program. Montag telegraphing that one, coming back up with speed, laying it in.
Yeah, and Coach Barbie's really going to try to build a program here. You know, he comes from a great coach, John Calipari.
Yeah.
All I got to say is one and not done.
It's got to be a lot different experiencing that Michigan winter for dad and son, Tony and Drew. A little bit colder up here than it is in Kentucky.
Yeah, definitely.
Long way from Lexington, Kentucky. Hopefully we do get a chance to watch them down the road. A lot of uncertainty with this basketball season right now as Mount Pleasant High School shutting down for virtual classes. Genema thought maybe he drawed the foul there as he took it to the hoop. Certainly just trying to enjoy this broadcast, not thinking too far into the future, but a lot of uncertainty for this Mount Pleasant group in terms of how the rest of their basketball season could go with a COVID outbreak in the Mount Pleasant area.
And on that last point, Coach Benzenberg looked like he was really upset with the officials. He looked like he wanted a foul, but they didn't give it to him.
And, you know, I don't know who that Oiler player was, but it did look like they reached around inside of Genema. Didn't matter, though. Doesn't matter for this shot for Pareda as it rolls out.
Gosh, just rolls out. Those are real tough when you shoot shots like that, and it just goes out.
And slowly but surely, Cadillac creeping back in as Gottliber is going to come in to replace Polk. Also coming into the game is Gavin Getz. 2-point game now. And I'm going to borrow a turn from the hockey world as we have a minute left in this third quarter. Genema, a guy that, when you talk about the difference between hard skill, being able to make plays under duress and while you're being fouled and things like that, that's certainly what Genema possesses. It's not soft skill. He can play through the hardship and really finish, even without getting the foul there. Getz, all alone is Eli Main. Unable to make the Oilers pay for their defensive mishap. Klein hustling. Couldn't keep it in play. 34 to go in the third.
You know, Dodge, it's been really hard for Cadillac to make a three-pointer. I don't know if they've made one yet. Well, actually, they made two in this game, excuse me. But, you know, the rest of the time, the rest of them can't really make them. It's been really bad for their offense for scoring points.
Yeah, Montag has been cold all night. As Brown bowled over by Klein. As we were saying, Montag really struggling from behind the arc. But he's the type of guy where if he can just get one to go for him, he'll heat up from there.
Oh, yeah. Like a microwave. Like everyone that might be talking about, you know, the old bad boys, like Vane Johnson, the microwave.
Brown hits the first foul shot. 1-point game. Big free throw to tie it up at 38 if he makes it. Bounces out. Borotachuk holding onto that ball for dear life. Pareda with a chance to settle this one down. Looking to generate one more shot for this third quarter. 15 to shoot. Gottliber moving to the right side. Turns the corner. Tough layup. He'll miss it. Cadillac looking to find it. That's Howell. Up ahead. Time will expire before that basket from Getz. Mount Pleasant maintains their lead, but it's cut to one thanks to a third quarter where the Vikings were arguably the better team. Back on the other side of this timeout.
There's just one place where students are students first, and athletics are played with purpose and perspective. That place is your local high school. High school sports offer more than the joy of competition. Studies show that student athletes are also likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in other areas of their lives, including academics. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education.
For Cadillac coach Ryan Benzenberg, this sport of basketball means just a little bit more. Has a lifelong bond, grew up going to the gym with his father, who is a coach at Swan Valley, and really developed a special bond through this amazing sport of basketball. He passed away this summer from cancer, so we just want to offer our condolences to him. And obviously, he said it's been tough to move on, but he has devoted this season to him.
That's a real great thing to give a great tribute to your father, who, you know, brought you up into this game, and, you know, the love for basketball. Same with, you know, my dad. He's brought a lot into me when it comes to loving football.
Benzenberg has had to persevere through some hardship in his coaching career. He was the assistant under head coach Jeff McDonald when he joined the Cadillac program. He passed from pancreatic cancer back in 2017, so 2 losses of major figures in Coach Benzenberg's life. This turned over. Davis is going to draw the foul.
Another turnover by Cadillac. It's been the Achilles heel in this game for the Vikings.
One thing I will say, Coach Ryan Benzenberg, coaching a great game right now, has potential to do something special with this team, and I guarantee you his loved ones are smiling down at him right now.
And more about Coach McDonald. I read in the news when he stepped down that in 2013 and 14, he got him to back-to-back state final appearances for Cadillac, and that just shows how good of a coach he was.
Yeah, so the culture Zach Taylor formed at Mount Pleasant, Benzenberg and McDonald have very much formed a similar winning culture for Cadillac, who really are certainly hoping to take home a Big North title this season. Genema taking a beating in the paint. Infraction there goes against Mount Pleasant.
And that is already 6 fouls for Mount Pleasant. They need to stay out of the bonus and not get into foul trouble. Because with a team that only has 8 players right now, they cannot get into foul trouble.
A guy you can't foul, Genema always seems to have the basketball with him, and he's been automatic from the foul stripe tonight. That time he'll miss. Pareda dribbling ahead. Davis out for Gottlieb.
Fire!
Quick pass up ahead. Brown looking to catch the Oilers sleeping. Bad miss from Getz on an open shot. Brown draws the shooting foul. Guess that's going to go against Borodachuk. Had to bite his jersey there to make sure that no back talk came out to the official. Dribbles around and out.
And it's just a 5-point lead for the Oilers. Let's see if Cadillac can make it 4 on this free throw attempt, and it's good.
Brown 1 for 2. Played in for Davis, hands back off to Pareda. Here's Drew Pareda. Left for Corey Davis, taking it in. He's pushed from behind. Foul on the floor against Cadillac as Charlie Howell will come in. Inbound to Borodachuk. Turning. Still got it through.
Gosh, what a tough shot. What a great make by Borodachuk.
The strength of Borodachuk. Had an arm in his face. Don't know how he got that to fall, but Mount Pleasant and their student section here are fired up because of it. As Brown stripped. Reach-in call. And because of the sheer number of fouls going against the Oilers, Brown will take a trip to the line.
They already have 8 total fouls for Mount Pleasant in this fourth quarter, and Coach Shell, though, agreed with the foul. I looked over and he's just nodding his head.
He's livid.
Well, there's only, so much you can do when someone drives in and not, there's good fouls, there's bad fouls. That's really, it's hard not to foul when someone drives in the paint like that.
That's a great point. Brown sinks another one. 5-point advantage for Mount Pleasant as things stand. Shorthanded because of illness and injury, but still putting on a good performance. Their horses, Gottlieb, especially Ryan Gottlieb today, are coming through. He came through again. Came through the paint that time. Found an opening. And a soft little finger roll at the glass. Genema holding, spinning. Tegan Baker, who missed the first 5 games of the season to a collarbone injury sustained while playing football. Brown hops over one, leaping to the basketball hoop, gets the field goal.
Great handles by number 10.
David Brown.
David Brown, excuse me.
Gottlieb, Borodachuk, he'll try one. A little bit too strong.
I would say that was a good shot selection by Borodachuk. He was open enough to make that 3.
Genema spinning, firing, missing. 5.5 left. 47-42 Mount Pleasant. Saginaw Valley versus Big North matchup. Typically a game that's scheduled late in the season to test these two squads' mettle earlier on this year, and it's been a real treat so far. Pareda gets the pick from Nar, has a lane, lifting it up over and in.
It's been a lot of points in the paint, a lot of drive-ins for Mount Pleasant in this fourth quarter.
Back and forth right now. Haven't had a stoppage in a couple of minutes. It's Baker. Really an impact player that's been hindered by that collarbone injury I just mentioned. Getting close to 100%, and they're going to need him to be at his best down the stretch. Brown. Howell fires! Yes! 4-point basketball game. 4.5 to go.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start? Here, in the classroom.
On the diamond.
In the pool. On the field. Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Yeah!
Be great.
Participate!
I posed an interesting question to Cadillac head coach Ryan Benzenberg this week. I asked him, what do you think of this group of guys you have this year? Obviously, they've been able to get good results, 6-1 record, had a big victory against Traverse City Central last week we talked about earlier in the broadcast. He said this group works hard and they love to have fun, which is always something that's great to be around in sports.
That's always fun. It's always great to have a hardworking, blue-collar, tough basketball team. I always love that.
But know how to enjoy themselves at the same time.
But yeah, know how to enjoy it.
It's not all serious, but they know when it's time to take care of business. He also said that they've given him a willingness to evolve in his coaching methods. He said since social media is important to them, it's become more important to me to try to relate to these players. So really just a guy that cares about these kids and invests a lot of time into their lives. Gottlieb finding Klein, who just checked into the game, number 42, nearly coughed it up. Pareda able to salvage it. Borodachuk back down for Klein, looking to spin away. Fouled in the process of shooting. That was Howell.
Great move by Aiden Klein. You know, gets a post move and goes up for a tough shot and gets fouled and gets 2 shots at the charity stripe.
Off the mark on the first. Converts on the second. In for Eli Main. What can the freshman add to this Cadillac lineup with under 4 to go? 50-45, Mount Pleasant leading over Cadillac. Genema knocks over Borodachuk, and David Brown knocks down the three-pointer.
Big three-pointer in this game with just 3:40 left in the fourth quarter by Davin Brown.
Gottlieb floats one. Rolls out. One of the things that's so tantalizing about Cadillac's lineup, you never know who's going to contribute. So many guys have the capability to make that big play.
Right.
Montag, he's really not had the success typical of him in this game as Gottlieb at the stripe. But other guys like David Brown, Tegan Baker hasn't had a lot of buckets, but he's been big in terms of the effort level. Other guys are able to step up and kind of fill that void when somebody else is maybe having an off night. Bricks. Here's Montag. To the corner. Gurdon decides not to go for it. Genema working in low. Genema trapped, has to unload. Great feed there by Howell.
Great block by Loden Borodachuk.
He'll take it up now. Shot over to Gottlieb. Top of the key. Trying to shake Gurdon. Dishes to Borodachuk. Moving around. Bounce to Klein. And a timeout called by Mount Pleasant coach Dan Schell. 2:46 to go, 51-48 for the Oilers. Don't go anywhere.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 300,000 participants here in Michigan who take part in high school sports.
You know, Jack, this has certainly been a high-octane basketball game. So intense, in fact, that I've needed to hydrate here on the sidelines. And I don't know if it's the excitement of the game getting to me, but nearly drank from your water. Glad you caught that and prevented it. Don't want to do that in these COVID times we have going on, obviously.
You don't want that.
Trying to stay healthy here.
Yeah, and what a treat we've been able to see. You know, this game has been really back and forth. One team gets a lead, and the other team comes roaring back and takes a lead. You know, it's been a real fun back and forth game.
Mount Pleasant looking to this contest as a statement game. Fell a few nights ago, last Friday, to Lapeer off of a last-second turnover. Trying to bounce back from that, and shorthanded. This could be a real litmus test to see what this core group of Oilers is made of. Up by 3. Davis looking to add to the lead. A little bit of stuffing there from Genema. Montag feeding Genema. Davis a little bit over eager.
Yeah, just got too much with his hands and reached in and drew a foul by Genema.
How many trips to the line has he had tonight? Golly. Making his money from the free throw line. Cadillac, a school district that really has an emphasis on sports. Every player on this Cadillac team, get this, is a multi-sport athlete.
That's great. I love that. I love hearing that. I always love.
Many of them playing 3 sports. I know Aiden Gurdon, he's on the floor right now. He played a big role for the Cadillac football team. Got took down by Hudsonville Unity Christian in the regional final, who went on to make it to the state final. Pareda drew the foul, nearly got the shot to fall.
And really, I got to see this Cadillac football offense. I'm getting a little off track here, folks, but Aiden Gurdon, you know, they run that flex bone option offense, so he's a real tough player. You know, it doesn't in that offense. You don't really throw the ball off, but you definitely use your quarterback a lot, and you have to have a big leader as your quarterback, and he's done a great job of that.
6th Man of the Year was a high school basketball award. Gurdon certainly be one of the guys considered. Provides a lot of energy off the bench as Pareda re-extends the Oilers' advantage to 3 points. 2 to go. Big possession for the Vikings. Can they answer? Brown, Gurdon, fumbled for a moment, recovers. Genema. Vikings not a team that's afraid to wind down the clock until they get a shot that they deem suitable. Brown making it through. Runs into a brick wall in Borodachuk. That's going to be called a foul.
And looks like Mount Pleasant's now in the bonus with just 10 team fouls. And, you know, it's really hard right there. You know, it was a questionable call, but
at the end of the day, you can't let the referees decide the game. And Gottlieb trying to pump up the crowd now. At the end of the day, it comes down to who can play the better basketball at the game. You can't blame it on the officials. It's up to the players to play through that. Both teams are dealing with it. And really just control what you can control here. Davis, Cadillac pressing hard with 1.5 minutes to go.
I wouldn't be a bit shocked if they press. You know, it's 2-point lead with just 1:26 left in the fourth quarter.
Ball movement, the name of the game. Oilers will look to run down the clock as much as possible, I imagine. Cutting back is Borodachuk. Finding Davis in the corner. Three-point shot just rolls out. Oh, my, that would have been a big make for Corey Davis. Cole Genema. When the game's on the line, he's in his prime. Throws one up. Nearly makes it. Didn't get the foul call that time. Dribbles off the foot of Mount Pleasant. Oh. Cadillac's going to keep it. Poor miscue.
Just goes right out the foot with a minute left in the fourth quarter. Just a 2-point ball game.
53-51 Mount Pleasant. Ironic that after getting all those somewhat soft foul calls that time, what arguably should have been one, didn't get one. We're going to get a timeout call. We're going to stay here with just a minute left. Left.
Oh, bridge.
Kind of looks like a Big North Conference score here. Both teams in the 50s. Mount Pleasant up 53-51. Spotted in the stands here in the crowd tonight. Obviously a great crowd of the Oilers students cheering on their team. Saw Gottlieb waving his arms to try to get him pumped up here as it got a little bit quiet in the building.
Crowd up.
One guy I saw in the crowd, Ty Huneman, checking out the action. Plays college football at Harvard University. To have the athleticism to play Division I football, but also the smarts to get into Harvard, man, that's impressive.
That's a student athlete, I gotta tell you.
Stop a cheer. Some kind of a mix-up at the scorer's booth. See if they got it sorted out. The anticipation building. I'm on the edge of my seat here, Jack. David Brown with it from the wing. Tegan Baker thrown down for Howell. Oh, nobody there. Gottlieb almost touched it. Managed to draw his hand back just in time. Possession of the Oilers.
Gosh, you can't do that if you're Cadillac.
51 on the clock. Probably not what Coach Benzenberg drew up there.
Yeah, you see that full court press by Cadillac.
Davis looking to evade. Finds Pareda, who's isolated. He's got to get over to avoid the violation. Crosses over the timeline.
Timeout.
Shell's going to call timeout. Can Coach Benzenberg and his group pull one out here? A guy who's been really all over the place, coached everywhere. His first head coaching gig was at tiny Division IV Forest Area High School. Guess what their enrollment is?
What is it, Coleman?
Less than 200 students.
Wow.
So that was a chance to cut his teeth, as Coach Benzenberg said. Built the struggling program from the ground up. Wasn't super successful at first, but made improvements slowly but surely. Resigned in 2006 to start his family, but the year after he left the program, stayed and followed the team, and he was able to witness the Forest Area Warriors, mostly made up of players he had coached and developed, capture a district title. Said he was bawling his eyes out in the stands. Special moment for him.
I could definitely see that. You know, when you put so much time, so much effort into a program, and see it go well, it just pays off, and it's so hard not to get emotional.
And remarkably, to make a little bit of a connection, I know you're a Sparty fan, Jack. In that game, they played Sutton's Bay, a very good Sutton's Bay team, defeated them for the district title. That team featured DeJuan Anderson, who won Mr. Basketball, went on to play collegiately at Michigan State. So certainly an impressive feat.
Yeah, and it's never easy. You know, as a coach, he was a young coach, he said, and he really had to take a chance on himself and push himself to build a program that hadn't had a lot of winning tradition.
30 seconds to go. In the feet of Pareda. Picks it back up. Dribbling around. Trying to shake around Brown. Brown will reach in to stop the clock. Benzenberg up in arms about something.
All I know is he's upset, but I don't know what he was upset about. It seemed like maybe a foul.
24 seconds on the clock. Mount Pleasant 53. Cadillac 51. A crucial trip to the free throw line for Corey Davis. Makes it. He'll get another one. 3-point game. This could ice it. Does Davis have the mental fortitude to make this shot? And he does. Timeout called. Wow. Corey Davis, ice in his veins. So, what do you think Cadillac's going to draw up here, Jack? 24 seconds. They're going to have to get down the floor quickly and try to make one and then likely foul and send Mount Pleasant back to the line.
Get inbound play. Make sure everyone knows what they're doing. Get a quick bucket or maybe shoot a three right as you can. And if you make that three, call a timeout and get your guys together and get a good press defense on for the inbound for Mount Pleasant.
It's been two opposite trajectories for these respective teams. I thought Cadillac came out hot. Mount Pleasant was a little bit shaky to start and just a little bit unconfident. But as the game went on, the roles kind of reversed. I thought Cadillac kind of petered off as things have gone on down the stretch, haven't been able to make those good decisions or capitalize on their open looks. And for Mount Pleasant, I think they've just got better as the night's gone on. They've had that confidence to say, you know what, we don't have a couple of our bench players that we usually have come into the game, and Irvin and a big figure in Brown, who would have been a great matchup for some of the size Cadillac has. But you know what they've realized? All the guys we need to win this game, we have right here on the basketball court.
Yeah, you're right. You know, that they embrace that. Next up, man. Next up, potential.
Tegan Baker to Montag. Howell have to put up a shot here quickly. You knew they were going to try to get it to Genema. Didn't like his shot. Howell. Yes. Huge make with 11 to go.
Yards of the game.
Chance for Mount Pleasant to exercise the demons that they faced against Lapeer. They were in this same situation. Little time on the clock. Had to inbound the ball cleanly and hold on. They ended up turning it over to the Lapeer Lightning in their last game, who made a bucket and ended up winning the contest. So,
yeah, you don't want
Coach Shell's, I'm sure he's saying to him right now, hey, guys, we were just in the same situation. We know what we did wrong. Got to correct it. And really, if we just do the fundamentals right on this inbounds pass, take care of business, you'll be walking home with a victory tonight.
You don't want to do what Chris Webber did.
What did Chris Webber do?
Drove in the corner and tried to call a timeout, and they didn't have any timeouts, so automatic foul and sent them to the line. And I think they were only down by – they were up by one, I think, or two. I still ended up costing them the game, and the Fab Five never won the national championship.
Hopefully not a repetition of Chris Webber's antics or what happened last Friday night for Mount Pleasant. As for Cadillac, can they finally get a bounce to go their way after dealing with some misfortune throughout the game? Have to get it in here. Brodachuk, see if he can heave it in. Didn't like the look to Gottlieb, short. Heaves one up, batted away. A chance, 10 to shoot. David Brown,
down the corner.
Out for Montag. Howell looking to move over. Takes the shot, he missed it. What's the call?
We have a timeout. We had a timeout called by Cadillac team. I don't know what Coach Benzenberg was upset about. Just wondering where the ball is. I think they're going to inbound it right where the Cadillac bench is.
Oh, goodness.
4 seconds.
Oilers can't inbound it cleanly. Brodachuk, quarterback for the JV football team, back up for varsity. I think he was trying to throw a ball over the top there to Gottlieb.
Trying to get an open look.
Props to the Cadillac player. He got a piece of it. And now, going down to the wire. 4 seconds to play. Just enough time to get the ball in and set up a quick shot. I'd be willing to bet that they're going to go to number 21.
I wouldn't be.
Only guy that's been able to convert from range so far tonight. More confusion.
Looks like they're arguing if it's a 4 or a 30-second timeout.
Coach Shell thought that they had called a 30-second timeout, but they're treating it like it was a full.
Yeah, full timeout's longer.
And now the teams are going to go back to the huddle. A lot of confusion. Silence has kind of fallen over the crowd here, a little bit ominous. Cadillac's going to take more time to try to just make sure everyone knows what their job is on this final play.
I know this might sound like a bananas play call, but maybe you could do a quick lob to Genema, or do a quick inbound in the paint and make a quick 2-pointer. Well, let's see what Coach Benzenberger does.
Mount Pleasant up 55-54. It's a 1-point game at the moment. Haven't seen McGowan for quite a while. It doesn't look like he's going to come in here either. Thought maybe he'd use the size to try to get a 2. Montag guarded closely by Gottliber. Davis trying to stay tight on Genema. Baker trying to throw it in. Out of bounds. Mount Pleasant's going to get it with 3 seconds left.
Yeah, 3.5 left on the clock. Looks like the officials are talking about it.
I thought Cadillac coach probably wanted a foul there, as there was a collision down low in the paint.
I don't know if there's a foul called or
just another twist in the tail.
A lot of confusion. I think he wanted to sub, and they're talking about if they're going to give him time to sub in Gurdon.
Barodachuk, he'll have the task of heaving this ball in again. Has Davis open on the far side, but it got tipped. Turned over. Basket falls, but it's not.
Shot on the floor.
It's not going to count.
Oh, my goodness.
Cadillac was fouled. 0.2 left. Aiden Gurdon, the senior.
This is the end of the game right here.
His coach told him he wasn't going to be given a starting job going into this season, but he embraced it and has brought a lot of heart to this team. Can he be the difference here tonight? Down a point. Needs one to tie it. Rattles out.
We need this one to go to overtime.
We saw Corey Davis make a couple of ice-cold free throws to take the lead on the other side of the floor.
Well, they're trying to sub, but they're going to wait to sub, it seems like, for Cadillac.
A chance for Gurdon to tie this one up and send it to OT. Can he do it? Free throw. Up. And in.
Lane violation.
Lane violation against Cadillac. So it's not going to count.
Wow.
The twist and turns in this basketball game. Oh, Gurdon. Able to sink the free throw, but they said that one of the Cadillac players got into the lane, which nullifies that shot. 0.2 left. Barodachuk chucks it in. Brought down by Davis. Mount Pleasant wins 55-54. Controversy after controversy in this one. Coach Benzenberg still approaching the official.
Wow. That was such a heartbreaker. Aiden Gurdon made that second free throw, and there was a lane violation which canceled the point out. Wow, what a game. What a game.
Somehow, some way, Mount Pleasant emerges with a win. For Cadillac, nothing to hang their head on. Certainly have some things they need to clean up. But they played hard, gave it their best effort, and really cool to see over there Tegan Baker talking to Aiden Gurdon. Gurdon did his part. He made that second free throw. But unfortunately, just a bad turn of events for Cadillac. And that's how it's going to end here with Mount Pleasant finding a way to win. Down several players. 2 players out for illness, 2 for injury. Had a size mismatch and still able to persevere and come away with the W tonight. 55-54 the final score. Mount Pleasant over Cadillac. Thank you for joining us here tonight. For everyone here at the GI Tech School broadcast program, I'm Calvin Keys. Have a great night.